up, everybody? I created this channel because, for one, I know that a lot of people like believe in God, and it's not really an outlet other than church that you can, you know what I'm saying, learn about it. And for two, God power, the name of the channel is just, I just want to teach people how to use the God power inside of them. It all starts off with understanding like exactly what was written in the Bible, or the word, or whatever you want to call it, the book. You got to understand it to a deeper level. I know for me, I didn't understand it because it's like a whole bunch of these and thous and a whole bunch of I don't know. I didn't understand it. So I had to just break it down. And I just read different translations of it, and like broke down the words into their Greek and stuff like that, so that I could understand it. And it actually makes sense. Most of them stories in there are dope. So on my channel, I'm gonna break down as much of the word as I can to explain the real stories and the real messages behind the stories, so that people understand it. For today, I wanted to break down Galatians, because I think that's a real good starting point if you want to understand the message that the Bible is trying to get across, and that all the Christians that are out there preaching people's heads off are trying to get across. And everybody is trying to get the same message across, but it's written in Galatians, and so I think that we'll start with Galatians. So the book of Galatians is it's not really a book, it's like a letter. It's a letter written from Paul, and he's writing a letter to the churches in South Galatia, which is basically an area around like Turkey, I believe. It's around modern day Turkey. He's writing a letter to the churches in South Galatia that he founded on his first missionary when he was traveling around that area. The purpose of the letter is basically to combat the idea, or combat the people who taught the Gentile believers that they had to obey the Jewish law in order to be saved from their sins. He wanted to call the Christians to faith and freedom through Christ, and basically through Christ's message, which is it wasn't what they were preaching. It's not all that law stuff, and that's basically what this whole book is about. But first of all, you gotta understand who's writing the whole letter, anyways, and it's Paul. And who is Paul? I didn't know that at first, so I had to look it up. Paul is an apostle. And apostle, what does that mean? Apostle is definition is each of the 12 disciples of Jesus Christ. That's what it says. If you break down the word apostle into like the root origin, you get apostolion and apostolos in like Greek. Apostolion meaning sent forth, and apostolos meaning messenger. So basically, if you really want to take the definition and break it down, an apostle is like a sent forth messenger. So he's a sent forth messenger from Jesus. So that's what Paul is. But Paul had a really effed up start. Like, it's pretty ironic that he's writing this letter. He actually started off, his name was not even Paul, it was Saul of Tarsus. He was born like around the same time Jesus, like 4 BC, in modern day Turkey. Again, in the same area where he set up the churches. Earlier in his life, he was a member of the Pharisees. So he was a member of the people that he's writing the letter to, basically. The Pharisees are the people who believe you got to obey the law. You got to obey the Jewish law to be saved. And they believe that they basically accepted non-biblical traditions as being as important as the biblical written word. So yeah, that's total irony that he's writing these letters. However, he spent the first half of his life just persecuting them, basically killing people who accepted Jesus as their Messiah. But on his way to one of his like slaughterhouse trips, he had like a vision. He was on his way to Damascus, and he saw a vision that changed his life. It was basically God showed him that he had a son. And then after that, Paul or Saul saw a huge blinding bright light, and he's like, man, okay, that's enough for me to believe. And after that, he was just a believer from that moment and that revelation. And after he just believed, he went on a tour and he set up all these churches around the area, around which is modern day Turkey. And after he set up the churches, he was in his older life is when he actually wrote the book of Galatians, and that was just because he was looking back at what he had established and like, nah, y'all are doing it wrong. That is not what I taught y'all. Y'all are going off the word. This is how I need you to do it. So that's why he was writing the letters. And honestly, after him writing the letters, everything did get corrected. There was a council formed like a year after him writing these letters, and they're basically regulating the word so that this wouldn't happen again. But there was new leadership in all the churches to make sure that the actual word was being spoken the correct way or being taught the correct way. So this is what the whole book is about. This whole book is pretty short. It's one of the shorter books in the entire Bible, but it's one of the most impactful books, and that's why I chose to start with it. So the whole book is about the letter, and it's understanding what the word is. So this is, to me, it's somebody breaking down the word to somebody who is straight from the word. And Paul was around Jesus, so he obviously knows what he's talking about. Like, he's talking like straight up experience from his close friend or his associate that he knew at the time. Basically, he was a disciple, so he was following this dude. And it's not like following on Twitter, because you might not ever meet those people. This like more so he was literally following dude around. So, I mean, take it how you want to take it. This is just going to be a breakdown of that. And I guess that we'll start it on the next video with chapter 1. But thank you for listening to the intro. And remember, you got that God power.
Loving the God power. I got the God power.
Tapping the source, caught in the vibe. I just thank God I'm alive. I just thank God that I'm fly. I just thank God for my rhymes every night.